Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a very interesting show set up for you today. Yep, Finebaum has ripped a couple of coaches, and I mean big time. One is in a must-win situation, and the other one, things aren't going so well, and a lot of people think that he's going to leave after this season. We're going to get into all that, and of course, Finebaum had a lot to say as well. He has a tendency to be a little bit opinionated, you might say. That's kind of his thing, and it stirs the pot big time. Now, let's start out with Billy Napier. He's playing Florida's playing Texas A&M Saturday, and that's going to be an incredibly interesting ball game. You've got Graham Mertz, who's the starting quarterback, but he missed last week because of a concussion. DJ Lagway filled in against Sanford and Son.
You big dummy.
Which is not a very good club, an FCS school who's not even a good one of those. And they, of course, kicked their butt, and DJ looked great, which is not unexpected. He's a 5-star and a very good athlete. Now, I've heard from some folks at Florida that Graham Mertz, of course, understands the offense way better because DJ's a brand new guy. He's a freshman, true freshman. And it's really hard for somebody just coming in fresh to be able to really understand playing in the SEC. It's not easy. It's extremely rare to pull that off. But the crowd and the fan base wants DJ, obviously, because he's the phenom, and he played great against Sanford. But I don't think there's much question that we're going to see Graham Mertz start this game. Now, Texas A&M, they didn't look so good against Notre Dame, a game they should have won. And then, of course, they won their second game. And we don't know what Texas A&M really is. I know they're going to try to run the ball. You got Connor Wagman, who hasn't really played up to his expectations. Their wide receiver situation's not that good. And their defense, while it's loaded with talent, is, it's pretty good. And Mike Elko is trying to put his system into a brand new team. And it takes some time to do that. The first year of a new coach is always difficult. Even Nick Saban struggled his first year, if you'll remember. And, of course, our Josh Heupel went 7-5 the first year, which honestly was great given the circumstances. It just takes time to build your program. And doing it right off the bat is incredibly rare unless you're taking over a Georgia Bulldogs at the very top. And nobody ever takes over a team at the top. Well, Kalen DeBoer at Alabama is. Saban definitely didn't leave those cupboards bare. But it's going to be a heck of a ball game because if they lose this game, Florida, Billy Napier's hot seat is going to get beyond hot. And I don't know that he technically survives it. Now, he's not going to get fired right off the bat if he does lose the game. But they'll start the ball rolling towards that. You can just look. They've lost 6 of their last 7 games, and 1 game was against Sanford. So things are not going well down there. And I can just tell you the fan base is totally ready to take Billy and throw him overboard. But Paul Finebaum had quite a bit to say about this. And he said, I think must win is really an understatement. Should Billy Napier fail to win this game and Florida loses again, I don't see how he can survive. I know that sounds like we're going for the headline. We're not. I was down there a couple of weeks ago, and my pulse of that situation is all of the goodwill Billy Napier found in the offseason, and he found a lot, went out the window. He's talking about the game against Miami, where they just absolutely got whooped.
At the Swamp.
And that doesn't happen. You don't whoop Florida at the Swamp in front of their crowd. First game of the year, everybody's pumped, everybody's excited, and Miami just absolutely boat raced them up and down the field. It was awful.
Quit hitting yourself! Quit hitting yourself! Quit hitting yourself! Oh, water tastes good, yes! Club.
And it wound up being a 41-17 loss. It wasn't competitive at all. And then, of course, beating Sanford helped them a little bit. That just gave them a 1-week reprieve. But it's all on the line this week. So look for Florida to pull out all the stops, and we'll probably see DJ Lagway in this game as well, unless it just goes great right from the get-go with Graham Mertz. If he struggles, he'll probably put DJ in and he may go the 2-quarterback system just to see what can happen. That is very dangerous. I've never been a proponent of that, but he's in a circumstance that's really hard to control. The fan base is almost making it a must. And they're going to have to pay him $26.7 million if they fire him, which is a ton of money. Now, it's not Texas A&M Jimbo Fisher money, which was $76 million, but $26 million's got to be in the top 5 highest payouts of a college coach ever. And Florida doesn't have a bunch of oil wells behind their stadium. or they can just go pluck millions of dollars out, no problem, the way Texas A&M does.
Haven't you noticed? You got to be a man to play in my league.
So I'm looking forward to watch this game. I can't root for the Florida Gators because they're my nemesis. They are my Newman. But I almost want Billy to stay. So he needs to go at least 6-6 to be able to survive this year. And if he does that, I think they'll keep him because they don't want to come up with all that money. But if he goes 5-7 or 4-8, they'll probably have to get rid of him because, gosh, I don't know, though. He's got such an impossible schedule. That schedule Florida's got, he should have at least 2 or 3 Sanfords, and he's only got the one. Every other game is tough as nails. So we'll see what happens, but this is a huge game for Florida Gators. Now let's talk about Deion Sanders. He's had a whirlwind week. I mean, controversy after controversy. He's had it out with the media, a week or two ago. He suspended, he kind of barred this one guy from being able to ask questions from the Colorado newspaper. So they're not peachy in Colorado land. And Finebaum had something to say about that. A lot of people are talking about Deion. I was concerned when he kind of went after the media that was not a good idea, because once you ban a guy and once you really attack the media, they're real bad to work together. It's almost like you attack one, you attack all of them, and next thing you know, you're getting bad report after you. And that concerned me right off the bat. It's like, Deion, don't do that, man. I'm telling you, I know how this works. You're going to get hit with 1,000 cuts, and it gets old after a while. But anyway, let's see what everybody's saying about Deion. And Finebaum was quoted as saying, "This thing feels like it's heading for disintegration. I wouldn't call it a divorce because, frankly, Colorado, need him more than he needs them." Finebaum said on ESPN's Get Up, said, "But at some point, I think Deion Sanders is going to say, I got to get out of here and go somewhere else." Finebaum said, "It's definitely a panic. As far as Coach Prime, it's rinse and repeat. It's the same story after every loss, which pretty much every game. He's really brilliant with the media. I'm not so sure he's brilliant as a head coach. I don't see any improvement from this team. Instead of talking about the college football playoff, which we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, now we're trying to figure out a way on whether Colorado can get to a bowl game." He also said, "I don't think Deion Sanders will be there next year. This season, when they fail to go to a bowl game, he's going to look around and try to find an exit strategy. No more Travis Hunter, no more Shedeur Sanders. What's the motivation for him to beat himself up? So I think enjoy the Deion show. It will be playing somewhere next year. It may be off Broadway, it may be on Broadway, but it won't be in Boulder." So there's a ton of people talking about Deion leaving after Shedeur and Travis go to the NFL. You're hearing that a lot, and you're hearing about the lack of recruiting they're doing there. It's all been transfer portal and stuff like that. And here Andy Staples and his partner talk about that situation.
Better show that he wants to stay at Colorado long-term right now. And the way you do that is you start recruiting high schools now. I don't care that that you're behind. I don't care that you weren't doing it before. Time to start doing it if you plan to stay there. Otherwise, all those critics, and we weren't among them at the beginning, but all those critics who say this is daddy ball on steroids, they're going to be right. And Deion's going to be gone, and Colorado's going to be looking at exactly what it was before he got there.
The best time for Deion Sanders to start recruiting high schools was yesterday. And yesterday it was the day before.
Yeah.
Like every single day that goes by where that doesn't happen is a wasted day. So here's the thing with Deion and Colorado. On one hand, he has unquestionably created a better sentiment, a place where people want to buy tickets.
They're excited.
They've won games that they probably would have lost in the past. They have two of the most electrifying players in college football that would not be there if it weren't for him. Like, he has done good. But we are talking about Colorado a lot of times to people who don't follow college football the way that we do and the great fans in our chat do. And there's a lot of Deion fans. There's not a lot of Colorado fans, right?
That's an interesting comment. There are a lot more Deion fans than there are Colorado fans. I would say that's accurate. I really would, because I wouldn't be covering this at all if not for Deion. I never even talked about Colorado before he showed up. Never even thought about him, honestly. Last time they were really good was in the 1990. I think they shared a national title, and then they've been kind of an afterthought ever since then, really. But I was a Deion fan when he was at the Braves, when they went from worst to first. He played center field. He was also a cornerback for the Atlanta Falcons. And, of course, he had the big run-in with one of the announcers over him flying in and out of the playoff games, which was absolutely amazing that he could play at that level in two sports. That was back when occasionally you would have some phenomenal athlete like a Bo Jackson that could do both, which I'm shocked over it, that anybody could play Major League Baseball and NFL football at the same time. It's just so difficult. The level that you had, and the skill level you got to have in baseball is insane. You know, at least in football, you can get away with a lot by being incredibly fast and strong. But in baseball, hitting a curveball is the most difficult thing you've ever done in your life. If you've ever tried to do it, it's just shocking. I mean, first of all, they'll throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball at you it scares you. Then they throw a ball that looks like it, and it drops 3 feet. And there's no way to hit that. And he was doing it all. I mean, he was a good, solid, he wasn't a great hitter, but he was a good hitter, played fantastic center field, and could steal bases like nobody ever saw. And he was just good, just a really good Major League Baseball player. And then in football, he was the best cornerback in the game. He just was. So anyway, he got into it big time with an announcer over that, which showed that he was kind of had a thin skin. But I think that's right. I think there's more Deion fans than there necessarily are Colorado fans.
How dare you!
Sorry, Colorado. Anyway, let's see what else they got to say about recruiting and other things.
I've never really been that comfortable predicting.
Well, let me give you some numbers.
Predicting whether a coach is going to be there at the end.
Yeah, well,
and it's like I just do not think Deion's going to be the coach.
But let me give you some numbers.
Okay, let's hear them.
So, in the classes of 2023 and 2024, how many high school offensive linemen did Deion Sanders sign?
Is it both classes you're asking?
Both classes combined.
3.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. So he signed one in 2023, and then 2 in 2024. Jordan Seaton,
yep,
and a British import who's the 3-star plus type with kind of a project.
But also understand too that most colleges want 5 to 6 a class.
Wait.
Okay, yeah.
How many did Kirby Smart sign at Georgia in the classes of 2023 and 2024?
I would guess 11.
12.
Yeah.
12, because Kirby Smart is worried about winning at Georgia in 2026. You sign offensive linemen in 2023 and 2024 if you'd like to win in 2026 and 2027.
What does Kirby Smart know? And it's funny, you mentioned Jordan Seaton. That's the guy Tennessee lost to Colorado, who we thought we had. And it actually worked out really good for us because Seaton's now a true freshman. We got Lance Hurd, who was a 5-star at LSU, and he's a sophomore, and he's already starting for us and playing well. And I'd rather have a sophomore 5-star than a freshman 5-star any day of the week when it comes to offensive line, because that's not something you're going to be extremely good at day one. It's just not. Offensive line's a tough position. Now, it's not like being quarterback. That's the toughest position, but you got to learn a lot. You can jump on the defensive line a lot quicker than the offensive line. But anyway, they made good points there. He's not recruiting like that at all. And going solely on the portal, which is pretty much what he's done, that's very difficult. That's not a good long-term strategy. You can do some of that the way Lane Kiffin is doing at Ole Miss, but he's recruiting as well. You know, he'll finish in the top 20 in recruiting, and then he'll add a bunch of guys. Whereas Colorado is finishing 60th in recruiting and adding a ton of guys and getting rid of a bunch of guys that he doesn't, think are performing well. So it gets tricky. There's another thing, and everything's coming down on Colorado and Deion right now when it comes to news. And this started over a song. It said, and this was reported in Barstool Sports and a bunch of other places reported it. It says he told the Colorado band it cannot play the fight song after Shedeur Sanders throws a touchdown pass so the stadium can play his rap song instead. Now, needless to say, this didn't go over real well with Deion. I don't know how much truth. It doesn't sound like there was a ton of truth in that, or maybe he was saying play the fight song first and then play his song. But anyway, Deion didn't appreciate it, and he had a lot to say afterwards about that very thing.
Let me start out with the main thing. Whoever reported that I told the band not to play the fight song, that's idiotic. Y'all know that. Like, when you saw that, you know that was a lie. We got to start having some kind of accountability to this. I understand that this is a free and an open world, that everybody is not a journalist. Everybody's not an analyst. Everybody's really hadn't put in a lot of work to do what you all do. I'm thankful for many of y'all that take your job and your craft serious, and consequently, you get facts before you run with false narratives.
So I thought that was a perfect response, but he went a little further.
But please know that that stuff affects people. Me, you've been attacking me my whole life, so I'm good. But other people that's involved, band members, Buffs, faithful, and alumni and all that, sometimes they don't know what to believe. And oftentimes in life, we believe the first thing we hear, in which we shouldn't. I just would challenge you to be more responsible with your reporting. And I never wanted to get personal. So when it gets personal, you got to really think about that. You got to understand, I have a huge platform. I could really get personal if I wanted to, but I choose not to do that because that's not right. Some things in life is just not right. And I don't want to go there, and I won't go there. But think about it. Just my family alone, the platform is enormous. If we really wanted to go there, we could go there. But we would never do that. We weren't raised like that. We weren't brought up like that. We were brought up to love that neighbor as much as we can. Now let's continue.
All right. Now that can be taken two different ways. It could be saying, hey, you know, we're better than that. We wouldn't go down that path. Some people could take that as, oh, we've got this huge platform. You want to keep playing games? We can go after you personally. So that could be taken two different ways. I think had he stopped at the first part of that comment, asking people not to report stuff unless they've got facts, was the correct way to do it. The second part, that could be taken poorly. So that's one of the things that gets Deion in trouble sometimes with the media. You don't have to tell people, hey, you know, two can play at this game too, you know, because here's the thing. There's a ton of them. There's one of you. And you've got to be focused on running a football team. Their focus is covering you. So you're not going to win that situation. I just wish he'd have stopped after the first 45 seconds. That was perfect. The extra 45 seconds afterwards, it was unnecessary. I mean, I take his point. Yes, you do have a big platform. You could do something about this if you felt like it. But I don't know. That could just be taken either way. And that's what he doesn't need out there. Because if I was a reporter, I might take that the wrong way. So anyway, there is a lot going on here. Then this is difficult. You've got two teams that really, the Florida Gators, they're one loss away from just total panic with the fan base. And then with Colorado, they're not going to panic. But you can get so focused on the news media and negative attention and going back and forth with reporters to the point it's to your detriment and to your team's detriment. And here's the other thing. If you're going to go at it with reporters like this, you better win. You better win a lot, because that's the one thing that will protect you from the media. If you're winning, they can't really get on you. But if you start losing like they did in Nebraska, they're coming after you. You can just count on it. It's the way it works. Anyway, I did want to cover these two stories. I thought they were pretty interesting. Just a lot going on with both programs, and they're in the spotlight big time. Finebaum's talking about it. Everybody's talking about them. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's remember to continue to cover all these big sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit that little button. I would appreciate it. Doesn't cost you a dime. Helps you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.